Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of the Extra Point. We got the hit makers in the house today. Got Miss Tasha T. Sizzle decked out in her wedding white. We got Michigan Mike ready to talk some Big Ten. We're ready to talk some Big Ten. We're ready to talk some NFL. We're ready to talk a lot of sports with you today, but we can't do any of that before we get a word from our sponsor.
We are sponsored by May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can get your Colombian and your whiskey blend coffee freshly ground and shipped to you by my lovely daughter, Sasha Denise. You can, as Mike told us, you can actually order the coffee if you have the Keurig and you get the refillable cups. So there's no excuse for you not to be ordering your May Jane's coffee for you people who say, oh, I have a Keurig. But anyway, she sells mugs, she sells t-shirts, and she also sells the flavored syrups. Again, thank you for your continued support. It is May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANESCOFFEE.com.
Right on. Shouts out to May Jane's Coffee. And the Extra Point is also brought to you by
Wolverine Comics. We buy, sell, and trade comics. Right now, we're gearing up for our next stream, which should be in a couple of weeks. We had a couple of y'all reach out already to buy some of y'all's collections, so thank y'all for that. Every collection does get a free comic as well if you're looking to purchase from us, and a little sticker. So thank y'all for supporting us. Yes, sir.
Right on. There's no better price than free $99. Thank you, Michigan Mike. Thank you, Wolverine Comics. And I also want to give a special shout out today for another sponsor on the rise. I just want to kind of show this T-shirt. It says that kings are born in August. And you know, you can't be a king without a crown. So I want to send a shout out to CEO Miss Martrice Elaine Hastings. You can catch this shirt as well as other custom T-shirts at Stirred Up Gifts Creations. And we'll put that Instagram account out there for you.
And go on Instagram and see this reluctant model.
Right. Oh, okay. You got some modeling going on. We got the Goon Squad checking in. Shouts out to Angelo Tate. Hey, what is up? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we got a ton of football to get to. It is a football Saturday, the first one of the new year. I am very, very excited about that. So let's conclude our countdown to kickoff with one of the most intriguing divisions in all of sports, the NFC East. Cue the maestro. Now, before we get started, Angelo has a question for you, Tasha. Are you talking about the art teacher?
What art teacher, Angelo?
I have no clue. As we proceed. All right. I'm going to start out, guys and gal, with a two-part question, a real simple question for you to answer. One, who wins the NFC East, Philly or Dallas? And two, tell me why it's Dallas. Tasha, you up first.
I'm going with Philly.
Philly? All right. I know. Go ahead. I'm going to sip my coffee.
You said it's really no explanation. I just think Philly has more of an upswing, even though Jalen Hurts was ranked like last almost with, was it quarterback completions or something out of all 32 quarterbacks last year. I just think now he has another weapon in A.J. Brown. I like what they're doing, put it that way.
Okay.
I like what the Eagles are doing. And as Stephen A. Smith says, the Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen. And like Mike says, the Cowboys are gonna cowboy.
And like Langston said, we're going to just leave that right there before we get to Mike. All right, coming in hot is the Goon Squad. Mike, you are an Eagle through and through. Are you a believer in the Eagles, or do you think that Dallas is going to run it back?
I think this division overall is pretty weak. I think if the Eagles were in another division, then it would be kind of a toss-up, and I might choose someone else. However, yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles. They did, like to Tasha's point, they did a lot of improvements on the offensive side, which they didn't really need that much help with. And then on the defensive side, on the offseason, they've been working on their whole defensive squad. So you add those two mixtures together, as Dallas's trajectory is going down, I'm going to go with Philly.
Okay, so here at the Extra Point, we have a motto. a saying, a mantra, a mission statement that says when you're in the booth, you must tell the truth. So with these two being noted and notable Cowboy haters, we're going to put their theory of Eagles over Dallas to the test. Yes, we're calling you out early this morning. You said Eagles, I figured you would. So let's put this to the test. We're going to put you two in an impromptu game of this or that. I give you two options, Dallas and Philly style. You pick one. Let's start with a tell of the tape of the teams at the quarterback position. Mike, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts? This shouldn't take long.
I'm going to go Hurts.
What?
Right. Tasha?
Well, no, I mean, like, Dak healthy, back to his original mindset, definitely Dak. That's a hands down. However, he hasn't been the same Dak when they first had him in the last couple of years. Last year, he was not the same Dak. He's afraid to move outside the pocket. He can't make those throws, and so I'm going to choose Hurts. He at least has improvement.
Tasha?
I'm going straight clanger.
And that would be Dak Prescott for you non-Mississippi State fans. Mike, to your point about Dak, I do agree that he did show signs of being timid on that leg, but being now a year and a half, close to 2 years removed from that gruesome injury that he suffered against the Giants, I think that he's going to be our MVP this year. But we'll get to our NFL Bowl predictions next week. Yeah, he's going to be MVP. Moving on.
Wait a minute.
Running back, Mr. Mike. You going with Ezekiel Elliott or Miles Sanders?
That's easy for me. I'm going to go with Sanders.
Okay. All right.
If you had said Pollard, then I might have selected Pollard. However, you said Zeke, so.
Well, then let's go with the total running back by committee then. Hold on. Let's expand on that for the people.
No,
we have
not
Ezekiel.
Stop. We're not doing no committee. We going by who, especially old Jera, is talking about who is his number one guy, and whoever's the number one guy in Philly. We're not doing no tandem.
Zeke and Miles Sanders then, Tasha. Who you got?
It ain't Zeke.
Zeke. Okay, all right. Zeke. All right. Okay. Wide receiver, and this should be a good one. Tasha, we'll start up top with you. CeeDee Lamb or A.J. Brown?
Oh, I'm going CeeDee Lamb on that one, though.
This little lamb of mine, he's going to shine. He's going to shine. He's going to shine. Mike, do you agree?
I would say CeeDee Lamb as well. However, since you did committee, let's go committee as well. We'll do Eagles committee. We'll do Eagles wide receiver committee against Dallas wide receiver committee, and based off of injuries, I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Mike.
Don't be springing this pitch on me this early in the morning.
We doing individuals.
Right, individuals. And look at him banging his fist on the pavement. Poor Dallas. Well, okay.
Pull up the quarterback rankings. That's what I was saying. Jalen Hurts from quarterback ranking from the pocket. Jalen Hurts was 25th in the 2021 season.
Langston wants to interject. He said, hell, let's just compare owners. That's where the difference is. There is no comparison to one Mr. Jerry Pop and Lock on the pizza commercial Jones. So we're going to just slide on past that. But we do have two pretty talented defenses. Which one are you taking, Michigan Mike? You're the defensive guy. Dallas's defense, you going with Michael Parsons or you going with Fletcher Cox and the crew?
I think not watching their spring trainings and what I've seen happen, I would have honestly selected Dallas's defense because I didn't really know too much about the Eagles' new guys coming through. However, seeing a lot of their defensive practices, the Cowboys practices, it doesn't look good for their secondary, and I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles on that one.
Are you still blinded by the viral videos of Trayvon Diggs getting burned during Cowboys training camp?
Videos don't lie, I tell you that.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair. I mean, the man had to cut off his Twitter because he was getting roasted so bad. So I just wanted to double check because that's the lasting memory in my eyes when I was going through this list. Like, wow, if he's getting burned like that by Cole Weasley, then you can imagine what some top tier, AJ Brown would do. And of AJ Brown. Now, Mike and Tasha, they actually follow the Titans. They follow everybody. They're sports gurus. But for the Philly fans that are watching that may not know about Tasha, you work there.
I work there for extra money and I was in the club level, most of the time sitting down and going up into the expensive club areas and eating free
You
food.
saw AJ Brown up close and personal. So to the Eagles fans out there, I just want to tell you that as much as it pains me to say this, yes, AJ Brown is a diva. Yes, he's going to get your fan base in trouble with some of the things that he tweets. Yes, he can be a bit emotional and a little bit immature, but he is one of the few game breakers at the wide receiver position. One of the few receivers that can actually change the outcome of a game. Circa back to the San Francisco game Thanksgiving weekend, and you'll see exactly what he can do. Philly, you got yourself a monster. He's a dog. He has a running back mentality when he catches the ball. I'm very, very concerned about the Eagles picking up A.J. Brown as a Cowboys fan. I just wanted to leave that there. Okay, of course we're not going to go owner. There's no owner that can compare it to one Jerry Jones, unless you're talking about maybe the Krause family or maybe the Lakers and all that. So we're gonna digress. Let's go to the Giants. Mike, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. You tell me which one is more likely to happen for the Giants. What's more likely, Mike? That Daniel Jones throws for 30 touchdowns. He had 10 last year for record. Or that Saquon Barkley will start all 17 games this year.
I'm gonna say passing yards. I don't see Saquon. Like, when's the last time he's done that? When's the last time he's done that? Like what? I like his rookie year, I think.
At Penn State.
Man, he tore us up though.
Stats say you are correct, Mike. Tasha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Mike again today. Again, remember I told you guys how my friend said a lot of those athletes, they have those injuries because they're so big. And it's almost like when you go out there to try to prove everyone wrong, you tend to prove them right sometimes. And
Right.
That's all he's on. I'm on this comeback. Everybody that talked about me, well, you gave him justification to talk about you. You were injured. You were not producing. I mean, it wasn't all his fault, but you really, the way you came into the league, you fizzled out just as fast.
He really did. When you think about Saquon Barkley, you think about like Christian McCaffrey, somebody who's ripped, who's very muscular, who has soft tissue issues. But Mike, if he does play, let's say he does play 17 games, does that make the Giants at least somebody to worry about in the NFC East?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we saw what he did when he was fully healthy with no quarterback, and they just loaded the box and he couldn't do anything. And now, I mean, the quarterback, Daniel Jones, he hasn't really proved himself anyways. So like, no, I don't. I see this as a really bad spot for Saquon. I think if he does still have a little bit left in the tank, I'd be trying to write out that contract and go somewhere else. If he does really want to do something, I think he's in a bad position to start with.
Yes.
Because he was a great running back coming out of college, and then you're in the Giants with no offense, and it's like, man, that's just a waste right there.
Yeah.
It is, and to your point, I think that his best fit would be a running back by committee approach, to where they're able to, because he's not a 300 carry running back. His body just can't hold up under that. Now, let's move on to the Washington Commanders. Tasha, we're going to start with you on this. We're gonna profile Chase Young, the talented defensive end edge rusher out of Ohio. Now, his rookie season was phenomenal. He played in 15 games, 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and he led a defensive squad that got his team into the playoffs. Last year, he played in 9 games, only 1.5 sacks. If you had to project his career out over the span of the rest of his career, what do you think it would more likely to resemble, year 1 or last year?
I'm going to say, given the fact that he's going to be out for the first 4 games, I'm going to say more last year. Now this is not me hating on Chase Young, because that young man is a beast, and he was
a difference maker his rookie season. Yeah.
I just think when you're coming off of that type of injury, they're going to hold him out for 4 games. And what they always say, he doesn't have the football, he hasn't had the contact, he hasn't had this, he hasn't been in any game. So I think it's going to be a slower start for him. So I'm going to say more of last season, more than his first season.
Mike, you have been very critical of Ohio State players and how they fared in the pros. Does Chase Young fall in that category as well?
I honestly feel bad because
For an Ohio State
historically,
Buckeye? Oh, this is news to me.
yeah, historically, it's been more like work ethic, and that's what I've seen transition from college to the pros. However, I can't say the same for Chase Young, and I've seen his workouts and his intensity and his leadership transition to the NFL. I think the sad thing is that, yeah, his injury, and I think from here on out, he will be injury prone, sad to say.
That is sad.
And yeah, I mean, I think you're in the NFC East and you're in a defensive position. This is like the spot that you want to be as far as an elite defensive player. Point. And so if you're only getting those, I would call them mediocre stats for the NFC East, like, come on.
Yeah.
Right.
And then as a team overall, kind of going off of what Langston said, can you put Langston's comment back up?
Sure.
The answer to that, Langston, is no. And even though I kind of have them finishing ahead of the Giants, to be honest, but their offense, they don't have the type of offense that can make up for a player, the talent of Chase Young not being there. So if they get in the hole early, they're going to be at the end of the season just scrambling for wins,
right,
trying to, be relevant.
Right. And because to your point.
Go ahead.
Right. No, go ahead and finish your statement.
Because Carson Wentz is not the answer. He's never really kind of been the answer. So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Commanders.
Right. And to your point about Chase Young and his effect on the team that went to the playoffs 2 years ago, when you have a spotty offense, the best elixir for that is a defense that can turn the ball over. And the 4 forced fumbles, the 7.5 sacks, that flips the field for your team. That creates instant offense. That flips field position. And they won a lot of close games with him making crucial plays.
And they have the talent. It just doesn't work together because they have talented players. Does that come down to the coaching, or does it just come down to them just out here just doing whatever they want to do?
It has to be the coaching.
So you're not a fan of Ron Rivera, Mike, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think the NFL is changing right now, right? So it's like different styles. And I would say Rivera is definitely more of an old school type style. Probably one of the youngest old school styles. So it's like transitioning that into like coaching these millennial players. And I think that's a hard transition for people to get through. And yeah, I mean, if we were taking the coach out and Tasha just said what she said about, you having the best talent and, the teams are, they have the stats to back it up, but you're just not getting from here to the next level, it has to be the coaching.
Right, and Langston agrees. He says Riverboat Ron is smash mouth. And to your point that you made about the Titans last week, that's becoming antiquated. You're not going. You can't hold teams to 15 points and 10 points week in and week out in today's NFL. The quarterbacks are too talented. The wide receivers are too talented. And just like you felt bad for Saquon Barkley being in a bad situation in New York, I feel bad for Terry McLaurin for being in a terrible situation with Carson Wentz, because to answer Langston's question, hell no, I do not trust him one bit. Now, Tasha, Mike, let's see if you trust Vegas. It's time to do our over-under for the NFC East, starting with Dallas. Vegas has them at 10.5 wins. You going over or under, Mike?
I'm going under.
What?
Yeah, I'll go 10. I'll go 9 or 10, yeah.
Okay, way to couch that, because, we was about to throw some furniture in here. Tasha, are you taking the over or under at 10.5?
I'm going to take the over because, as we all know, they perform well during the regular season. It's the postseason when they show us who they really are.
That is very true. I mean, just look back over the last 27 years, and nobody can dispute that, because the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is disgusting. Let's move on. So, Philly, 9.5 games, Tasha. You taking the over or the under?
Oh, I'm definitely taking the over because I have them winning the division.
Fair point. Mike?
I'll go over as well. Probably 11 or 12.
That makes 3 of us. I think that they get to 11 or 12 wins. I think Dallas and Philly splits. and just gobbles up the rest of the division as well as outside of the division. I'm really high on Philly this year. I'm really worried about them. I just only hope that Dallas doesn't have to meet them in the playoffs. I think that would be a tough road to hoe with A.J. Brown. I'm just a big fan of him. I'm going to miss him dearly. Now, somebody who's not missing someone dearly is Sammy Watkins not missing Patrick Mahomes. If anybody caught wind of this week, Patrick Mahomes was put on notice by one Sammy Watkins. Of course, he played for the Kansas City Chiefs last year, plays with the Green Bay Packers this year. And he made a lot of national waves when asked about comparing the two quarterbacks. And he said that Rodgers is on a whole nother level than Mahomes. Now, we get it. Wide receivers want to pander to their new quarterbacks in their new situations. Just see Tyreek Hill and the blasphemy viewing. Right. That's his quarterback. But with us with no dogs in the fight, telling the truth because we're in the booth, do you agree? Is Aaron Rodgers, Rod, on a whole nother level than Patrick Mahomes?
Not for the same reason that Sammy Watkins was giving, but I would say yes.
Okay.
Simply because of his longevity.
Okay.
And everything before he became Lyron Rodgers, when he had the chip on his shoulder because he was sitting in the green room looking like Kingpin from Spider-Man with that tacky ass suit on, not getting drafted, having to deal with, take the money from the poor Favre down there in Mississippi.
Pay that money back, Favre.
Pay them people that money back.
Paying you. You got to deal with Skechers. Pay that money back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Everything he had to deal with and the way he came into the league, the way he showed us, hey, I am that man. This is me. Until, he became what he is now. So we're not just counting the wins. We're not counting, because if you just look at, Super Bowl wins and all this, of course, Mahomes is better because he's achieved more. But just as far as longevity, Rodgers is the better quarterback.
Mike, do you believe that? Now, that makes two, because Langston believes Sammy as well. Do you believe Sammy is at a clean sweep today?
Yeah, I absolutely believe him. I think Rodgers is on a different level, and I kind of go through leadership-wise, and then we all know his antics off the field, and honestly, he's just been pouting because he hasn't got any of his requests made as far as like, hey man, I need help on this offensive side. You just got rid of my top receiver. Like, you got to get me someone. And so you give him Sammy Watkins and he's like, oh, okay, cool. Sammy, this is my area. I think once he's in the game, he's like a leader of the game. And you don't get that really from Mahomes. I can't really see Kermit the Frog kind of leading group. Hey guys, hey, let's go.
His mama may be watching.
I ain't home. Let her watch because I don't like her.
Oh my God! Moving on in a hurry. Shouts out to Jarrell Glenn checking in. Says that regular season Rodgers chokes in the playoffs. But can we say the same thing about Mahomes? The last couple of years, he's had the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium 4 years in a row. Only one Super Bowl.
I mean, because it's like, with Rodgers, again, him being the caliber of quarterback that he is, he should have won more. I mean, he only has that one Super Bowl.
Well, y'all have cost him two going into Lambeau, the 49ers.
So Cap is the quarterback in the cold with no sleeves on.
Anyway, who San Francisco was keeping, by the way, but we'll get to that next week. We'll tease that right there.
Anyway, but everything that Rodgers has accomplished outside of him only winning one championship, at this point, he is. I would agree with Sammy, but not, again, Sammy's doing it to be petty, but we're doing it from a logical, actual, comparison standard.
Right, and I will make it a clean sweep. As much as I love to debate and disagree with you two on wax, I agree as well. A-Rod, for what he's done over the course of his career, his leadership, as Mike alluded to. Yes, he has choked in the playoffs, but I think since Mahomes has two the last couple of years, that was an unacceptable loss in overtime, an interception in overtime against Cincinnati last year. Unacceptable to have a 10-17 come in there and beat you. Yes, they did it to the Titans as well, but we had Tannehill. What can I say? Last word on that belongs to Mr. Glenn. Rodgers and Trent Dilfer have the same amount of rings. Ouch. But Mahomes has one, too, so I guess we can we can do that. Right. TD to INT, you're correct. Now, Mike, we're getting into your wheelhouse. your favorite time of the year, college football. Ladies and gentlemen, it is back. In about an hour or so, we will have Big Ten football live from Ireland. Before we get into the Big Ten preview, Mike, can I ask you a question? I wanted to ask you last night, but I forgot.
Yeah.
Should Notre Dame be playing in Ireland instead of Nebraska and Northwestern?
Yeah, you watching that game, Mike?
Yeah, I am actually.
I'm watching that game.
I ain't
Yeah,
watching.
I do think that's very odd. I think they're actually supposed to play next year, I think, or in 2 years, something like that. But yes, I agree that they should be the only ones moving over there.
Wow.
Or playing over there.
Now, last night on my radio ride home from the casino, where someone on the panel did quite well, won't say how well, I heard a radio host said that there was a watch party, like a pep rally, if you will, for Nebraska over there, and there was 10,000 people there. So take that, SEC. 10,000 people went from Lincoln, Nebraska to Dublin, Ireland to watch a football game against Northwestern. So, yes, people will watch. Hello, Coop. Hope you're doing great today. We'll let you respond to that next week, Coop. But we're getting on to the business of the Big Ten. And when you talk Big Ten, you talk to two big boys. You talk two of the best players in the country last year. Good shot by you, producer Mike, Aiden Hutchinson, and C.J. Stroud, two Heisman finalists. Let's start right here. Let's just keep it real. Who wins the Big Ten title this year? Tasha. Don't you sigh? Don't you?
Yeah, Tasha, go ahead.
Go ahead.
As I
Look at
told
Mike
you
getting his wetting his whistle. Look at Mike getting ready.
As I told you earlier, the conversations that Mike and I have that you refuse to participate in.
I'm getting better on IG. I'm getting better.
When he named the captains, it kind of told us, it really pretty much let us know who's going to start at quarterback.
Oh my God, we're going to get to that.
I don't agree with that. So because of that F-boy move, I hate to say it, I'm going to have to say Ohio. Simply because of that move.
Hey, you're in the booth. We got to respect the truth coming out of your mouth. Mike, do you
Just
agree?
that move. But everything else, of course, is go blue. But because of that decision.
Now, you know how I feel about Cade, but we'll let Mike chime in first.
Yeah, so I agree with Tasha that I don't like that move of naming Cade as a captain, especially since I was thinking more Cade would do like the first half of the season and then JJ would finish the second half, mainly because I forgot that JJ just had a minor surgery through the spring. And so I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, we don't want to mess him up, right?
Right.
However, making them a captain, that means like, oh, okay, this is going to be your season the whole way through. So
you don't just bench a captain.
Right.
It
has happened before. So
But Tasha, if they bench him, that means we're already out of the college football playoff race. That means that he laid an egg in a game that we were supposed to win. That's what worries me about Michigan.
That is true.
Yeah, I foresee honestly Michigan getting pretty far, even with one loss. So I don't see that being a deal breaker. Like, I could see them losing to Iowa at Iowa and then still finishing out pretty strong. However, you asked me about
over the years. Yeah,
you asked me this game.
You just segued me, Mike. One second, Tasha. You just segued me, Mike. But Tasha, go ahead with your thought, and then we're gonna go into what Mike just said.
We don't get the same benefit as a certain SEC school.
And that's the perfect segue I was looking for. I love these two, by the way. The next question here on the sheet, and I'm telling the gospel's truth. Can the Big Ten be a two-conference bid college football playoff conference this year? Have they earned that?
No.
I don't think we've earned it, no. But I think it could happen, but we would need a lot of help from the other conferences losing. And not having any undefeateds. I mean, Michigan got in with one loss, so that shows that it is possible, especially since we lost to a bad Michigan State team.
But we got in because we beat Ohio.
Exactly. Who lost a game earlier in the season to Oregon. So it was we
were depending on them. Like, remember, I think I said something about I hate that we have to depend on someone else losing to determine our future.
They have to depend on us too.
Right. Well, to Mr. Glenn's, to his point, the Buckeyes do have two preseason All-Americans in their own backfield, and C.J. Stroud and Henderson at running back.
They had that last year.
Good point, Mike. Good point, Mike. But number 97, number 97.
No.
Number 97 was suiting up at that time as well.
Right,
And we can only hope for another snow game where the track is slowed down to where
that's
it's
what
not
I've been
about
saying.
athleticism.
That's what I'm saying is like they, Tasha made a good point last couple weeks ago about how Big Ten Alabama just turns players over, right, in all
Right.
positions, which is fair.
Right.
Michigan's the same way on the defensive side.
Correct.
Like if you think about it, every year we got a star coming through, and especially since we have that Alabama transfer on the D end. I mean, they're saying that this defensive squad is actually stronger than last year. So I'm gonna stick with Michigan.
But as we've noticed, like especially in this new era of Michigan football, we're relying too much on the defense. And after a while, the defense gets tired. If you don't have anybody on the offense that can produce and let that defense get rest, put some points on the board, then we're going to end up with the same results that we've had minus last year.
Which is why last year was so different, because we actually had some offense going.
Right. They're already talking about the Ohio, offense. They're already saying C.J. Stroud is the favorite for the Heisman. Okay, damn, didn't Bryce Young just and he just win it last year? Y'all just counting the brother out. He coming back. But I just think if our offense sputters, you can just cancel any hope that we have of being relevant again.
Right. And Langston says that we don't respect the Big Ten, and by we, he's in the South. He went to Louisville, so he's an ACC guy by heart, but he grew up in the heart of SEC country, and that's the sentiment that Coop had last week. He was totally dismissive of the Big Ten's media deal, and I believe that he was being genuine. I don't even think he was trolling. I believe in the South, people really would rather watch Auburn versus Arkansas than Michigan State versus Michigan State.
Right.
Right.
But it's not just the South. It's like the world is watching.
Right, but to your point, Mike, and another great segue job by you two, it's consistency, like you said last week. Now, what I have here for you, Mike, and for you, Tasha, last week, Mike, you made an interesting point that I really wanted to go into more last week, but I knew the Big Ten preview was this week. So let's go ahead and follow up on something that you said that was a great point. You said in order for us to get the respect, like Langston said, like Coop said, like Tasha even mentioned that, not me. Remember the infamous "not me." That she won't be watching. You said, Mike, that the Michigan States of the world, the Penn States of the world, the Wisconsins, the Iowas of the world are going to have to step up their level of play and be more consistent, along with Michigan, to stay on the level of Ohio State in order to get more respect and to become a two-bid conference in the college football playoff. Which one of these teams do you feel has the best chance, maybe over the next 3, 4, 5 years, of getting to that level with a Michigan and Ohio State?
I would say Penn State. I think they've had some really good recruiting. They had a really good deal with Saquon there and just demolishing everybody in that run game. I think they took a hiccup with some of their off-field issues around 2000, and that kind of set them back a little bit. But I think I like their fan base. I like that they have a nice stadium, a nice nighttime atmosphere that is hard to play in. I'm gonna go with Penn State, and followed closely by like an Iowa. I just can't like how people in the South don't trust Big Ten. I can't trust the other side of the Big Ten. It's hard.
Wow, very well said.
Yes.
Now there was a team, Tasha, that Mike left off of his list, and I want to start there with you. He left off Mel Tucker and the Michigan State Spartans. Where do you think they are? Do you think that the 10-win season last year was a fluke? Do you think the win over Michigan was a fluke? Do you think that they could maybe take the next step to become relevant in the Big Ten and nationally?
I'm not going to necessarily say it was a fluke because the brother can't coach. Again, it all depends on your.
Mike started laughing.
I mean,
no, just keep going. Keep going.
I mean, it all depends on your recruiting. I think Michigan State would be fourth. I'm agree with Mike with Penn State.
They have more of a national recruiting base.
Yes, hashtag we are. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't have Iowa up that high, even though Iowa plays some ball. For some reason, Wisconsin is always there.
Yeah.
But they never. When's the last time Wisconsin won the Big Ten championship? And what did they What
Was
did
it
they
Ron
do?
Dane? Was it Big
Yeah.
Dane? I think it was Ron
No.
Dane. No, seriously,
They
I think
won
it was
after
Ron
that.
Dane.
No, they won it
Hmm.
after that.
I thought that they did too. Yeah, I thought it was like
Um,
5 years ago or something.
Okay.
But I mean, those are the only relevant teams in the Big Ten. I mean, ones that like, even though
Well,
Mike just swears everybody watches Big Ten football, those are the only teams that I'm going to watch. Like,
well,
I don't want to
I'm
watch.
gonna add another team in there, Tasha. I'm gonna add another team in there. He did say, what, 4 or 5 years? I'm gonna
Yes.
say USC.
Lincoln
We've
Riley's
seen-
gonna have them boys ready.
I mean, they
Lincoln
will be
Riley's
ready.
gonna have them boys ready. He's already getting
But you know
commitments
what?
from other schools.
Only thing Lincoln Riley is going to bring is an offense. You on the Big Ten, you got to have that defense to ball out.
Which
That's
is true, but we're talking about a USC team, and we're up against our top potential next to a Michigan, Ohio. Can USC at that time beat a Penn State? I'm gonna say yes.
I'm going to say yes, too. I think that they can do that. And Langston, for the first time all year, agrees with us on a Big Ten topic. He says, right. Now, I'm going to make this proclamation right now before the Lord. When Michigan goes to USC to play, or to UCLA to play in the Rose Bowl, we're going to go do this show live from outside
We will
of
be
the
there.
Rose Bowl in Pasadena, damn it. That's on my bucket list. We have got to get to the Rose Bowl. But I didn't even think of USC. That's a good point.
I disagree. I don't know where you said we. I disagree. I just don't think USC is going to be the fit that everybody thinks they're going to be in the Big Ten. It's not going to happen.
Oh, we didn't say the top two. We said like the 3 or 4.
I'm saying that they can knock off of Michigan or Ohio State, give Lincoln a couple of years.
USC is going to be the one out there skating without a stick in the Big Ten. This ain't Pac-12. This ain't La La Land. This ain't playing the coldest.
You don't think they can come out there in the snow and knock off a
Right.
Purdue?
The coldest game you can.
A Purdue.
I'm just saying those are the road games that they'll be playing in nasty weather. Nobody wants to be in Indiana in November.
As of right now.
West Lafayette in November is dreadful.
Dreadful. Almost similar to the picture we see there, how it was in the big house. Could that neutralize the USC? I'm sure that will have to go into the mind of a Lincoln Riley when he's recruiting.
They're going to have to play more games in the cold. You can't schedule all your cold weather team. I mean, everything in the Big Ten is cold weather.
Yeah,
and that's also assuming that Big Ten stops getting more teams from the Pac-12. So there's word on the street.
In trouble. But
there's word on the street that we're trying to get more Pac-12 so that can be its own side of division, so they don't have to travel as much and play each other, but still be part of Big Ten.
And then that side of the division would never be relevant when it comes to the national championship, because
that's how the Big Ten is right now.
Because
it is. Right,
because the Big Ten as now, if you put that against any West Coast team, they're going to dominate. Yeah, I said it.
With you saying that, it's almost to what we're coming to here is the fact that the Big Ten West is going to have the team that steps up to make that championship game legit, like a Georgia versus Alabama. We already know whoever wins the game is going to get the college football playoff bid. So that's where we are with that. Now, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, as you watch the top 100 plays of last year. Yes, the producer is producing his arse off this week. Shouts out to Michigan Mike. As you enjoy the footage of the top plays from last year, hopefully Michigan is in there somewhere. Maybe the Haskins leap over the defender as he's giving the go-ahead touchdown to seal it. I digress. It's college football time, ladies and gentlemen, which means that it's time to do some college football predictions. And I'm going to put these two on the hot seat. Since we're talking about college football playoffs, and people in the comments, feel free to play along. Tasha, I want to know who your final 4 teams are going to be at the end of the year. Who's your college football playoff prediction?
Okay, you didn't send us this, so I didn't really think about it. I've got Alabama. I have begrudgingly Ohio. Number 3, I don't know, because like I said, I didn't think about this. 3 and 4, I don't know if Georgia. I'm tired of that Alabama-Georgia thing, so I'm not going to even put Georgia in there. I don't know.
You know Georgia doesn't care that you tired of them, right?
I mean, I'm tired of the same. I mean, You can't keep having Bama and
Go
Georgia.
Oregon, go. Sorry. That was a beautiful afternoon. Sorry.
You can't keep having Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship and then having them again in the top 4 and then having them again in the college national championship game.
Mike, as she says that, Georgia's doing a pick 6 in real time. I'm loving
against
this.
Clemson.
Mike, go ahead with your predictions. Who you think? And Tasha, we will revisit this topic as the season goes along. So
I can't. I mean, I'm not thinking of preseason as of yet.
All right, Mike, who do you have?
I'm gonna go final 4, final rankings in this order. I'm gonna go Alabama number 1. I had the winner of Michigan, Ohio State, so I'm gonna go Michigan at number 2. I actually have Oklahoma at 3, and that's just because I don't see anyone beating them in their division or their conference.
Enjoy that. Yeah, go ahead.
And then I have a surprise. So thought process is there has to be another weak conference out there that just goes undefeated or potentially like a strong one loss team. So I was thinking about Clemson, and I know that's on a lot of radars, but I ain't going to choose Clemson. I'm going to go NC State.
Okay, right. But you know what? After what we saw last year, every year there's a Cincinnati that's there. Now, Mr. Glenn is checking in. He has Bama, Buckeyes, Bulldogs, and Baylor Bears, the 4 Bs. B. Baylor's in the top 10. They won the Big 12 title last year.
I just don't like Baylor. I don't see them as anybody's powerhouse. So
is it the green uniforms? What is it?
No, it's just I don't trust them on the national level to be that relevant. They're not that relevant to me to be in any kind of conversation. Like some asshole I got into a Twitter beef when he was talking about Iowa State or was it Utah? Like no one has talked about Utah in decades. The only team we talked about in the state of Utah was BYU.
And Karl Malone.
The mailman. So, I mean, it's hard when you have those outside teams because it's always one of those Boise State type teams that get in that we agree do not belong in there, but they, the way the cookie crumbled, the crumbs fell and they landed in the number 4 spot to get demolished by whoever's the number 1 seed, which is usually a Bama.
Right.
I mean, it's just difficult because I think the top 2 teams, and I hate to say it, are Bama and the FIs. Those are the only ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I just don't. I mean, now of course, everything in me is willing Michigan to beat them, but we're so suspect at quarterback and offense. I cannot put us there.
But you know what, though, Tasha? The AP voters agree with you. They have Alabama and Ohio 1 and 2. So if you had a
so when's the last time it finished that way? When's the last time that the rankings started and finished the same way?
Yeah. The top 4 never finishes in that 4. But what's funny is when I start looking at my list that you all have pretty much made all of my points for me, but you're not going to agree. Maybe not. Number 1, Alabama. Now, I don't have these in order other than Alabama finishing atop the poll. 2, I have Michigan. I do think that was a psychological win last year and that their coach will be on the hot seat in Ohio after we go to the horseshoe and do it again. That's going to put pressure on him to go on to the NFL because their boosters are going to be in disarray after we go up there and do it again because the running game for Michigan, mark my words, Hassan Haskins has gone off to the Tennessee Titans, but they have Mitchell and they have Blake Corum. They're just fine. And a freshman. So they're going to run that ball. I digress. Next is Clemson. I agree with Mike on Clemson. And here's why I say Clemson. Last year, Georgia knocked them out in week 1. Their non-conference schedule this year, Louisiana Tech and Furman. They're going back to the old Clemson that's going to pad their schedule. The only tough game, the only ranked opponent they have on their schedule is Notre Dame, and that's damn near in November. So they could very well lose 1 game, go on and win the ACC, let the Big Ten and the SEC devour each other with their 2 or 3 loss teams, and sneak into the playoff that way. And 4, I have Utah.
Utah's going to lose week 1.
The Utes. Look, to Florida?
Yep. In Florida.
I can't wait till next week, Mike. The Utes are going to be number 4. They're going to be our sleeper. Now, that brings us, as we're sticking with the college football theme, as kickoff is just over an hour away. Hope everybody enjoys their day of college football. It's time for T-Sizzle's Top 5. And this week she was given a choice, and I like the choice that she came up with. And that's the top 5 college football teams of the last 30 years. And we're going to say the last 30 years so Similac Mike down there can have a good frame of reference. So, Mike, let's hold on. Before we get into that, Mike, I got to give you another shout out for this deal here. I can't stop watching the countdown. Good job by you. Some great plays. It got me fired up to watch some football today. T-Sizzle, it is time for your top 5 college football teams of all time or the last 30 years, our lifetime.
Okay. I went kind of off of what you sent us.
Look at that catch.
I'm going to need for you to stop watching the video.
I know.
And first of all,
no, wait, hold on. I'm not the only one. Mr. Glenn said y'all didn't have to show my horns choking against Kansas.
Exactly, they're watching the video, and
I know you saw it on the video.
But no, I have ADD, so I cannot.
No, go ahead. No, we're focused right on you, right there. We're right here.
What I was going to say before my Wi-Fi rudely interrupted me, we keep forgetting about the elephant in the room when it comes to Ohio. Urban Liar has free time on his hands. So he's going to be back to coaching like I always thought he has been coaching. You think when he was with Jacksonville, what happened to him?
They lost to Michigan.
when he was in the booth at Fox, they were still, right after he left, they just kept going and going and going. He ain't got nothing to do. He got his little bar. That's all he has. Watch what I say. He's going to be coaching like he was when he stepped down.
He's going to go to
Ohio.
Texas.
You're right. I'm worried about Ohio. Stop it, Mike. I'm worried about Ohio. I really am. I think that they're going to be a monster this year. They're still going to lose the game, though. So, your top 5.
With my top 5. These are games that I remember. So, I have the 95 Cornhuskers. I did not pick the 94 Cornhuskers simply because that was a split championship. They won it outright.
Good point.
In 95.
Lawrence Phillips, may he rest in peace, and the boys put a number on Steve Spurrier's Gators that year. Go ahead.
Lawrence Phillips is a true tale of when we did not have proper care for mental health.
That's true. That's a nice sidebar on that. I'm sorry to digress you on that, but you're
Lawrence
correct.
Phillips, by far, oh my God.
He could have been a Hall of Fame running back.
Yes. Okay. Next, I have.
As we see somebody run for a 90-yard touchdown. Go ahead, Tasha.
Are you going to listen to me or are you going to watch the video?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tasha. I'm sorry.
Next, I have the 1999 Florida State Seminoles.
That was a squad.
Led by Peter, who should have won the Heisman / I got me some free polo at the Dillard's, Warwick. Next, I do have those 1996.
The leap. It was the leap. They had the leap in there, Mike. Go ahead, Tasha. I'm not going to do it again. I'm finna mute myself. I'm going to mute myself. I just asked for the leap and put the leap in there.
No, I'm gonna watch TV.
No, please don't, Tasha. This is your segment. Let's go. I'm sorry.
Hokey high, Polytech, Virginia. Come on, Hokies, yeah.
No, don't do that, Tasha. Come on. We have the 99 Florida State Seminoles who knocked off young Michael Vick.
Wait a minute. Come on, USC.
I'm listening, Tasha. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in front of the whole world. I am sorry.
Roll Tide.
Stop it.
We're begging you, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I promise.
But you have a video while people are talking, and you think people are going to listen? Because I have
listen,
and I definitely watch TV before I talk.
Okay, look. Let me bring that down. Then let's do that there for you, Tasha. There we go.
Thank you. The next team I have are the 1996 Florida Gators, because, we have to give props to the old ball coach. We didn't like a lot of the way he ran the score up back in the day. Everybody complained. I mean, I liked it, but everybody complained about it. But that was the best way for you to get the ranking, is to run the score up. And he was like the master of running the score up on teams.
He was.
And what am I in? 1, 2, 3, 4. And next I have the Tua Tagovailoa led 2017. No, I'm just kidding. I said that because I know Mike hates Tua. But the 09 Crimson Tide.
Who was on that roster?
What's the running back? Mark Ingram was on there, and
the Mark Ingram team. Okay, that was right before Cam. Okay,
yeah, and they actually went undefeated.
They did. They did. They beat Texas that year.
Yes. Now my number one team is. Look, I'm just gonna read the names off. I had to pull this up because I was listening to some podcast or something, and they were talking about this particular team. This was about 2 years ago, and they were saying, "Oh, these were the starters." But did you see who was on the bench? And I said that to you, Paul. I said the bench starters could have been NFL Hall of Famers.
Correct.
You had Clinton Portis, Najee Davenport, Willis McGahee, and Frank Gore at running back. Andre Johnson at wide receiver. Then you had what's his name? Shockey at tight end, and Kellen Winslow. I digress. We know what the issues he's had. Let's go to this defense. You had Philip Buchanan, you had Ed Reed, and you had an Antrell Roll. That's the team. That team was, and just Vincent Wilfork was a freshman.
And Sean Taylor came off the bench on that team. Yeah.
And Jonathan Vilma on that team. So that team would be the 2001 Miami Hurricanes.
Nice.
The star power, the names alone. Honorable mention, the UT Vols, because they were the first ones in the BCS.
Shouts out to T. Martin and the crew.
Yes.
Mike, your top 5.
All right, here's my top 5, and you can feel free to put the college games back up there. I like watching it too. Get that college feel. It feels like we're on game day,
Hey, Joel said great list, and while he was enjoying the video. So I just wanted to put that out there. He said, great list. Good job by you.
I'm going to agree with the Miami at number 1. That for sure. I don't even remember a team.
We're in total agreement with Tasha there.
Ed Reed was one of my favorites, and they had a great overall team. Their bench players were going to the NFL. Like, it was just crazy. Number 2, not in this order, but Miami's definitely number 1. I have USC 04 squad. We got Bush, Leinart, and then Lindell White. That was a great team.
It was.
LSU with Joe Burrow. That was an offensive nightmare for everyone.
We have the same top 3 so far. Good job. Go ahead.
And then I have Florida 2018 when they smashed Alabama. Yep. Yeah, and then they ended up beating Oklahoma, Sam Bradford in the championship game. They had a lot of great teams. Aaron Hernandez, we all know what happened with that. Riley Cooper, Piercy Harvin. And then, of course, I got to throw in a Michigan team in there because I'm Michigan Mike. I'm putting Greasy and the Woodson 97 team. And Tom Brady played 4 games, so shout out.
But they shared that national championship, so I didn't.
No, we didn't. We didn't share it.
Nah, we finished. We played the number 2 team, and we beat the number 2 team.
And Nebraska.
We beat the number 2 team. It's not our fault that Nebraska played a weaker schedule.
It was still split.
It's not our fault. Nebraska had a weak schedule in the Big 12.
Michigan beat 5 top 10 teams that year.
They split.
Check.
They split the season. That's why they're not.
They did. No, the voters did that because of what Nebraska did to that damn Peyton Manning in the Orange Bowl. Beat them by 50 points.
I didn't put anybody on the team who was not a single champion. If you split
and that's fair. That's fair.
Not unanimous, you didn't make the list, regardless of who you are.
That's fair. Although they did beat the number 2 quarterback in college football in Ryan Leaf at the time. Not pro Ryan Leaf, but college Ryan Leaf that had the Heisman. So I want to make that distinction. That was a hell of a team, and they did beat 5 top 10 teams on the road to the to the title that year. They had a much
Undefeated
tougher
Steve.
schedule than Nebraska, but to Tasha's credit, coaches voted one way, AP voted another, and that's the way that it sits today. I have the same three as Mike with Miami, 04 USC, and the Joe Burrow LSU Tigers. I have the same as Tasha with the 95 Nebraska, and I'm really embarrassed and sorry to say that the other team that gets an honorable mention is the 2015 Buckeyes. What they did to a talented Michigan, what they did to Alabama, and what they did to Oregon with their third string quarterback in Cordarrelle. So I think that was a team that definitely gets an honorable mention because hell, they had their backups in there and they ran through Alabama, and they ran through Marcus Mariota and Oregon. The Zeke year that led him to Dallas, and now he's washed up.
I don't care if they had 10,000 first place votes. They will never be on my list.
I just wanted to bring some levity. I'm sorry about that. Right. And with that, Tasha T. Sizzle, who are you shouting out today?
Guys, I have to shout out one, Simone Biles. If you saw my Instagram story, I missed Simone Biles by 45 minutes.
She was in the DR?
Yes.
Did she have a little purse? I missed it by a whole day.
I go and get tea from this shop. It's Umbrella Street, where the tourists go when they're on this cruise. And so when I got there, the lady asked me if I knew, she said Simone's Wiles or something like that, but I wasn't picking up on Simone Biles. And I said, no. And she said, she's famous. And I said, you mean Simone Biles? And she says, yes. And I said, she was here. And the girl says, yes. And I said, how do you know? And because you didn't even know her name. And she says, there were people in here and they were saying that was her. And I said, okay, that is no way. I said, well, what did she look like? And she said she was a little girl with your color. When she said a little girl, I said, wait a minute. So as I'm sitting there sipping my tea, I thought about her stories, and she's on a cruise. Then I get home later on, I go on Instagram, and there was her with a photo on Umbrella Street. Guys, I froze.
Nice.
I literally missed her I said, well, when did she leave? And she says, maybe 45 to 1 hour.
Shouts out to Simone Biles.
And
Good
she
job by you.
On a cruise.
You shouldn't hit the snooze button. Maybe you would have called her, T. Sizzle.
And the ship ported right here in Puerto Plata. They just opened up the cruise port there. And she was in Puerto Plata City, and I missed her.
Awesome.
I think her boyfriend is actually a Michigan alumni. I forget his name though.
No, not him. He went to some school in St. Louis. She broke up with him.
Oh,
yeah.
She's dating the Michigan guy now. I think his name is JJ McCarthy. I just started something right there. right. Mike, who are you shouting out?
He plays for the Texans, the guy she dates now.
Oh, okay. Shout out to all the high school players, football starts this week. And to all the parents who have to shuttle all that and stay and pick up at midnight and all that.
Football moms rock.
My band shirt, so shout out. We have Cameron's first game today, so.
Right on. I want to give another shout out to Martrice Hastings and Stirred Gifts _creations. I'll put her Instagram tag in the comments. Thank you for the wonderful shirt. The Kings are born in August. Anybody who's coming through who's trying to do something positive and be their own entrepreneur, we love to promote here at the Extra Point. So make sure you go follow them. Make sure you get your Wolverine comics. Make sure you get your May Jane's coffee. And speaking of that, she's going to close the show with her shout out. She says, shout out to my little sister. She made the cheerleading team at TSU. And tonight is her first volleyball game cheering versus Stanford. Go Big Blue, Shakina. I pronounced that correctly, Perkins. So shouts out to Miss Perkins, and congratulations to you. You know how we get down here. We're about to get out of here and go do some football activities. Mike has a busy day ahead of him. Tasha has always got something going on the sandy beaches of the DR. We will see you guys with next week's big boy games and predictions all in about 6 days and 23 hours. Until then, and look at the clock, y'all. It is at 59 minutes. We did it. We're out of here, y'all. Peace.